Now we should be recording and we can get started.
Okay, awesome. Thank you everyone for joining. We are going to discuss with you what the CTSO Officer Organization is and how you guys can become a part of it to represent Georgia First at the state level. The Q&A is open, so if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to put them there, and then at the end we will answer as many of your questions as we can. So I'm Maggie. I am the president of the CTSO Officer Board, and I'm a member of the Columbus Space Program, FRC Team 4188. I'm currently in my senior year. On my own team, I'm a part of the leadership organizational team, as well as a part of the mechanical outreach awards and pit teams. Within the Georgia First CTSO organization, as president, my job is to help manage our newer initiatives, organize training events, meetings, and just help all the other officers as we try to represent and improve upon FIRST. In the future, I hope to earn a PhD in robotics engineering.
Hello, I'm Andre Grossberg. I'm this year's Vice President of Outreach, and I'm part of the G3 robotics team at what used to be Grady High School, is now Midtown High School. On my team, I'm a programming member, and for my job in the CTSO, I manage and create relations with organizations and professionals outside of FIRST. So I do all the outreach with the different organizations that we like to, help project our project or help anything that's going on here at FIRST. And some of my hobbies are playing the piano, playing the cello, and skateboarding.
So what is the CTSO officer? So CTSO, which stands for Career Technical Student Organization, is statewide organizations where different organizations that help students develop the STEM careers provide their students with an opportunity to communicate with one another and also to represent their organization. Within FIRST, the CTSO officers are student leaders who represent all FRC students in Georgia. They will have various initiatives and projects throughout their term designed to help improve and expand upon FIRST within Georgia and to just really make it a better experience for everyone. What we're going to be discussing with you guys mostly today is the election process, which is how you can run for and then be chosen for an officer. The system of election was implemented to ensure that any student who wishes to be a part of CTSO has the opportunity, and to help teams develop a cooperative attitude and work together with one another to create statewide changes.
Now, just getting a little what it's like to be a CTSO officer. A CTSO officer will serve 1 full year carrying out the various responsibilities to make the best of their time as a CTSO officer for Georgia First. And every year, new CTSO officers are given the tasks of continuing past projects and implementing uncompleted ones and creating new projects. Projects are developed in order to better FIRST by targeting a specific area in robotics that can be improved. At competitions, CTSO officers have the chance to speak and present exciting new projects at competitions and connect with FRC teams. A CTSO officer may be responsible for revealing information outside of the projects as well at competition. Additionally, CTSO officers will take part in various training events and weekly or bi-weekly meetings to discuss updates throughout their term of office. Now, some of the benefits of being a Georgia First officer, where the most important part of being an officer for Georgia First is the opportunity to make improvements to Georgia First across the state that you want to see in order to make our programs more inclusive and enjoyable. Through the projects and events you will be able to be a part of, you'll develop your social, leadership, and professional skills that will carry on into your future careers. Because of a CTSO's officer's mission to better FIRST, you will also get the chance to develop new connections and relations. Officers get to meet government officials, work with executive FIRST personnel, partner or work with professional non-governmental organizations, network with state leaders in other CTSOs, and make long-lasting new friends. Lastly, this esteemed role is attractive on college and job applications as the position demonstrates leadership, professionalism, and dedication. Each new board of CTSO officers is given the responsibility of choosing their positions amongst each other. Although every officer is designated a role, these are simply titles. The board functions as a team and strives to make a difference together, no matter what position they hold. And
so nominations will open Friday, October 29th at 12 a.m. This will be virtually or after the opening ceremonies, and it will be closed Thursday, November 4th at 11:59 p.m. Once these nominees are in, teams can submit their nominations in person or during GRITS or virtually at these various times. The GRITS event will be October 29th to the 30th. At this event and at the same time period, there'll be more event information coming about how to nominate, so that will be coming soon. Once a team has the nominations are in, we will move on to the semifinal stage, which will go from November to December. During this stage, nominees will interview with the current CTSO board, and we will choose the top 10 candidates for next year's board. These names will then be released at kickoff on April 3rd in January. From kickoff in January to April 3rd, the top 10 candidates will campaign both during the build season and at district events for their election. At the end, during finals from Monday, April 4th at 12 a.m. to Friday, April 8th at 4 p.m., the voting will happen for our top 4 officers that will then go on to be next year's CTSO board.
And I think we got Kaylie now on. So Kaylie, are you there?
I think so. Yes.
All right, perfect. We can hear you. Do you want to introduce yourself before we go forward and
yeah.
get into the process for you? All right, cool.
So my name is Kaylie Singleton, and I'm one of the current GeorgiaFIRST CTSOs. Sorry, I was having technical difficulties, but I'm here now. But I am the team captain of Team 5900, the Fighting Mongooses, and on my team, I do fundraising, fabrication, and awards. And as a GeorgiaFIRST CTSO, I manage projects outside of the main project and carry on past projects like the election process and finalize them. And in my future, I would like to pursue attendance at the Georgia Institute of Technology for a mechanical engineering bachelor's degree.
So to qualify to be a nominee for the CTSO board, you have to have 1 full year of first participation in the last 2 years. You also need to be a 9th, 10th, or 11th grader. We ask that seniors and first members who are not currently in high school do not nominate themselves. And you have to be registered with your first team by November 15th on 2021, so we know you're still actively a member of FIRST. So the nomination process is very similar to the Dean's List process. Each team has 1 student nominee, and so long as these nominees meet the qualification criteria, teams can nominate whomever they like. We ask that teams work together within themselves to choose who they will nominate, but ultimately there was only 1 nominee per team. Again, the submissions to nominations open Friday, October 29th at 12 a.m. and they close November 4th at 11:59 p.m. And again, at GRITS, there'll be an in-person help desk in case you're having issues with your nomination process. The nominee are required to submit the following things. First, we ask that they give us their resume and that we ask that their mentor recommendation letter comes in. The mentor recommendation letter, much like Dean's List, is part of how we know that this is that team's nominee. We will not accept early or late submissions. That period from the 29th to the 4th is the only time a nominee can be submitted.
And for the candidate stages, the final CTSO officers will be chosen through 3 stages based on their interviews and campaigns. Depending on the stage, Georgia First officials, current CTSO officers, and FRC teams will determine the students moving to the next level or receiving the title of an officer. So the first stage is nominations, and in this period, the Georgia First Robotics competition teams are responsible for nominating one of their very own teammates for the position of a CTSO officer. Teams must submit a mentor recommendation letter about their chosen person to illustrate their role on the team, goals, strengths, and much more. Also, they must submit a resume for the nominee, or the nominee must submit a resume. Nominations will be submitted from the start of GRITS 2021 on October 29th and end on November 4th, 2021. The second stage is semifinals, and here is where us CTSO officers are going to be working with the Georgia First officials to hold interviews for nominees. They will last about 10 to 20 minutes and be used to learn more about them and their goals as a possible future officer. The current officers, us, will determine the top 10 candidates from those interviews and their turned-in papers to determine the top 10, and they will be considered for the final officers. And these will be revealed at kickoff in January.
All right, now that we get to the top 10 candidates are given a chance to broadcast their names, ideas, and reasons for their candidacy during this stage. Each of the top 10 candidates will receive the chance to broadcast themselves through the Georgia First website. The bio and video will be inputted by a current CTSO officer, but the candidates have free reign to include whatever they wish. General requirements, however, include that both the bio and video must be appropriate and include information relevant to their candidacy. They will be reviewed and approved by Georgia First and the current CTSO officers. The post must be less than 150 words and the video must be less than 4 minutes. The links to the candidates' information will also be found in the upcoming Georgia First CTSO Instagram, so be sure to look out for that. More information will be provided to the top 10 candidates upon the reveal. Now, once we're at district competitions, at each district competition event for the Peachtree District, there will be a designated area for the top 10 candidates to campaign. In these areas, candidates can set up displays, hold informational sessions, or anything of their choosing. This is to ensure that all candidates receive the chance to at least campaign to Georgia First teams twice. Campaigning will not be allowed within pit areas of competitions to ensure the safety of others and efficiency of the event. Lastly, the candidate videos may be played during the district events, in between matches, and during breaks if candidates are interested.
The last stage is finals, and this period, FRC teams are responsible for deciding the final 4 CTSO officers for the next year. The voting will be held during the week of the Peachtree District Championship in April. The new Board of Officers will be revealed during closing ceremonies at the championship. If a submission is entered outside of the deadline, it will not be accepted. The only exception is for teams that email the current CTSO officers of technical difficulties within 24 hours of the deadline or issues with the submission forms before the deadline. And the procedures for voting are that every Peachtree District team has 3 votes, and these votes must be used on 3 separate candidates to ensure fairness and sponsor cooperation. If applicable, if your FRC team has a candidate, you are allowed to vote for them, but you must vote for 2 others as well. And each voting team must have 1 designated representative to cast their votes. The representative is responsible for submitting votes electronically either at the designated area during competition or electronically, but they must also have their team's code to validate the vote. The codes will be emailed to a mentor of the team prior to the championship. And if there are any additional votes after that first submission, it will be deleted. And the requirements for voting is that you must be an officially registered Georgia First Robotics competition team before kickoff in January. All nominees must also be officially registered with that team and as an FRC student. And we would like to encourage that all students and teams involved follow the first core values in order to make the best of Georgia First and spread science and technology within the world.
So that is everything you need to know about how to become a CTSO officer. It really is a wonderful opportunity to both improve your own personal skills as a leader, organizer, and member of team, and also to help improve FIRST and make a huge impact. So we highly encourage you to think about it, talk to your teams about it, decide who you think could do the best and grow the most from this opportunity. So we're now gonna, the contact information for our organization is there. If you have any questions after this or any issues with nomination when that time comes, we are going to now do Q&A, answer any questions you guys have about what it means to be an officer or anything else that just wasn't fully explained to you guys yet. I do believe the Q&A is open for you guys to use.
And I already see we have from Mr. Davis. The question is this the same type of representation as what FBLA, TSA, and DECA currently has? The answer to that is yes, this is the same thing. It's the Career Technical Student Organization, and all three of those are a part of CTSO, and each one has state officers. These are the state officers for FIRST. So it is the same. The positions technically are different because because TSA has their general president, vice president, secretary, sergeant at arms, and such. However, and we have our four officers that you get to choose what you are going to be involved in. However, it's the same technical position. Let me know if that answers your question.
Also, Maggie, if you reload the presentation, the QR code for the election manual is there.
Awesome. So we're gonna pull that up in just a moment, and you guys will be able to see a much longer manual about this process and a little more information about offices and everything else, just to kind of help you understand what this is.
Manual is in progress, and there's a few forms attached for submissions, but those aren't open yet because of the deadlines. And some of the dates, at least for the final voting stage, are subject to change, but we will be updating things on the Georgia First social media and website.
Maggie, this might be I'm putting you on the spot here. This might be a better question for you because I'm not quite sure. Do you know how long this has been for Georgia First being a CTSO?
So I know for sure that Georgia First, that there's been 2 or 3 boards before us. I know that. I unfortunately don't know how many total there's been. But part of why we're really encouraging the CTS teams to run is our CTSO is very different from the others because it's partly because of what FIRST is, but also partly because we are one of the younger organizations. So I can't say that we've been around for an extremely long time, but it's part of that is why being an officer now can be so helpful because you can really help build it. I see there's another question. Is this opportunity available only for FIRST or FTC, or is it okay? So being a part of the CTSO officer team is only for FIRST robotics competition members in FRC. There's currently not an FTC or FLL equivalent, but that doesn't mean there won't be in the future. I believe there's conversations happening about that. And it doesn't mean you can't work with FTC and FLL within like your project for your term, but right now officers can only be part of FRC. I hope that answers your question.
We would also like you guys to encourage spreading the CTSO election process, I guess, just so we do have some amazing candidates and have the chance for all of the teams across Georgia to be involved in this amazing process so we can improve FIRST all together in our state. Maggie, do you want to go ahead and reload the presentation just so they could have the QR code for the election manual?
So unfortunately, my computer does not get along with WebEx. So Andre was the one who loaded the presentation, and I believe he's pulling up the QR code now, if I'm correct.
Where is the QR code?
To exit out of the exit out of presentation mode and then go back into it because it's right there.
All right.
Yeah, it just didn't load.
Is it there now?
Yes.
And I believe it should link to our election manual.
That's where all the information is that we talked about. So if you want to take a look at that, I'll make it easy.
And if anyone has any suggestions or if there's any typos or anything like that in the manual, please email us and let us know so it's better for everyone. Because we do make mistakes. So.
Okay, well, if you guys have any more questions about anything, you're welcome to stay on, ask them. I highly encourage you to get the manual and our email in case you have questions later. But beyond that, I will not keep you so early on a Saturday morning anymore. So thank you for coming, and we hope you or someone on your team runs for office.
Thank you for being here, and feel free to join other presentations going on at the moment.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Scott.
Okay. It is just the three of us now. So I have a question. Technically, our presentation doesn't end until 10, so